It's 8:30. I would like to call the meeting to order for January 12th, 2026. Welcome, everybody here. At any rate, need to acknowledge the minutes for January the 5th.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item is to discuss and consider a pay increase for Michelle Manning and Alicia Abbott in Jefferson County Attorney's Office.
You right? Yeah. Morning, Supervisors. I had put this motion together because of a reorganization in my office. Since I've been here, we've had 3 support personnel in the front office. One of them was a part-time position that was working collections. We have since outsourced that to a state agency that is now doing our. As a consequence, the 2 support personnel in the front office are doing substantially more work because of the lack of personnel and manpower there. So I put this motion together as a request to mid-year bump each of the salaries of Manning and Miss Abbott by $2,500. I have an amended motion here that accurately states the salaries of each of them and what their salaries would be effective the end of this month, should this motion pass. I think it's fair and appropriate, considering the amount of extra work that they do for us and for the county. I'm not sure if you guys are, aware of how hard they work, but it's very consistent. Everybody walks out of the courthouse that both Michelle and Alicia are there, and they work substantially more than they are required to, and that they are extremely diligent and dedicated to their jobs. So nobody else in my office, none of the attorneys would be able to do their work if it wasn't for the dedication of Miss Manning and that Miss. I would ask that they have a mid-year correction in their salaries appropriately.
So Chauncey, essentially you're going from 3 people to 2 people.
In the support, yes. So for anybody that walks in we still take in-person collections conversations and everybody's cross-trained with everybody else. Phone calls, walk-ins, meetings, all that is now covered by 2 people instead of 3.
You said something about outsourcing. I was reading here. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it all.
Maybe that's not the technically accurate term. Collections are now done by a office at the state. So we're actually a pilot program for that. It's still a public employee that does it, but it's no longer handled by somebody physically in the office.
Can they can't come in there then and pay?
Sure they can. And that's why Michelle and Alicia still do an amount of that work. However, typically the person calls a centralized office to handle that, but they still bring in paperwork, bring in payments and things like that, and they're processed by the 2 people that remain.
Do I have a motion? I'll lower your chair again.
We'll make a motion to approve the increase as presented by the County Attorney's Office for Alicia Abbott and Michelle Manning.
And the accurate numbers on here, they're actually a little bit lower than the one in the packet.
In the amount of increase to $39,950 and $66,258.
I second this motion.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I personally feel that we're looking at $4,000 increased cost, but on the other hand, we're not having 1 total employee. So I think it's a heck of a savings.
What does the state, this other person charge for doing this?
They collect a percentage of our collections revenue.
Okay.
And a percentage of that is still remitted to us like it was.
Okay. So that offsets this other person.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chauncey, has this been, I think I talked to you about something like this a half a year ago or something.
I don't have the month that we started. I think it was September that we
Okay.
started with this
It
pilot
was.
program. It was
It was
September.
September.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I,
Motion passed.
And I would ask that you guys sign the one that Mr. Demmett has, because it has the corrected figures on it.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, John C.
thank you.
Next item on the agenda, meet with the county maintenance supervisor who is not here today. He is, my understanding, he will not be here for a week because he is, or approximately a week because he has some issues with his arm, shoulder. Aggravated, wants to give some time off.
It hits too many innings.
Was that it?
Yeah.
He's icing it in the interim.
Yeah, it was an extra inning game, so. AJ called it.
Good.
Yeah.
It was exciting.
Okay, meet with county engineer, that's you.
Yes, it is. Good morning, supervisors. On the maintenance front, we are putting rock on roads this week. And the warm weather last week gave us a pretty good indication of places that need some additional loads. The guys are out doing that, and then the folks that aren't involved in rocking or grading roads are getting things ready to start trimming brush and ditches. So they'll probably be getting everything ready today and go out with chainsaws and trucks tomorrow and for the rest of the week or so. Keep working away on that. Our two guys that were out spotting teasel have come up with over 400 locations in the county that we're going to address this spring.
That's what you would refer to as a bumper crop.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's something needs done.
Please give the county weed commissioner our thanks.
Is there any way that can be cut, and dried and smoked?
You're free to
Sideline
experiment
income.
and report on the
Are we
effects. As far as I know, it is not a controlled substance, but if you want to experiment, let us know how it turns out.
AJ's over there writing furiously right now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow-
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, tomorrow night, I am going to the Libertyville City Council meeting to discuss the Libertyville rehabilitation project with them, just to give them a heads up on what we're doing and how it's going to impact the city.
Yeah, I think I asked you if it'd be okay if I came along.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never met with the city of Libertyville. I've talked with their city clerk a time or two, but looking forward to that. Not looking forward to losing sleep. It's part of the job. Then next Wednesday, the Grass Tree Road Bridge Project and the Libertyville Road Rehab Project go to letting for the DOT. So, not next week, but the week after, we will have some news on that, I would hope. Other than that, Thomas is still doing paperwork and Melissa's doing paperwork as well, but he's still waiting through the federal form for the Libertyville Road Bridge and wrapping up the audit work for the chip seal program from last year. Not fun work, but it's stuff that has to be done.
Thank you for that. Discuss and consider approval.
Susie, I just wanted to
Yeah.
I had reached out to the engineer's office last week about Tamarack at 165th. Was it 165th?
It's 165th,
Yeah,
east of Tamarack.
yeah. And I appreciate them going up there. I was just wondering if, and I know they said that you put some rock on 165th. I was just wondering if that Tamarack was one that was gonna get some rock.
This
That you
week,
were talking about.
no, that's not near as bad as some of the other spots that,
No, I thought the road was, personally, I thought the road was pretty decent.
Is that
when I
one
drove it.
65th from Tamarack,
to the east.
that 400 feet before you
Yes.
hit the dirt road?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh, yeah, that's the dirt road I got stuck on.
Okay, so, yeah, I just wondered because I did think that we could use some rock on Tamarack. I thought the road was in pretty decent shape. There was a couple spots there that were, um,
Do you mind we drive around and decide what roads need rock?
Pretty much all of the low spots on, or many of the low spots on the roads are in worse shape than we'd like to see, but we do what we can with what we have. And as you guys know, in budget season, that there's a finite amount of money to address almost an infinite needs, so. But we appreciate when people call in to let us know that there are areas that need attention as well. 'Cause a crew of 20 covering 900 miles, it's pretty tough to keep an eyeball on all of them. So we count on the residents to let us know if there's something we've missed.
well, like I said, I do think that, and I would hope that we might be able to do something up there. I know that it appeared to me that it could get pretty muddy pretty quick. So, but I also know that when it's muddy, if we put rock on it, it just disappears. So,
Okay, let's go on. Discuss, consider approval of contract for engine and a bridge inspection and rating from Calhoun Burns and Associates.
Okay, so I gave you guys each a copy of the Calhoun Burns quote, and I guess the second set of forms on there. They've been doing our bridge inspections for as long as I've been around, plus I think I've got records of them back into the early 2000s. The last 2 years, we have asked for bids on bridge inspections, just mostly just to make sure that we're getting a fair price on it, from our current vendor, Calhoun Burns, and they've been low bid both times. Last year, they were almost 30% below the next close bid. I didn't feel that this year their unit price had gone up. It's gone up a little bit, but they dropped from 69 bridges last year to 40 this year, 49 this year. So their unit price is a little bit higher because there are some fixed costs that go in, but they're still considerably lower than what our next bid was last year. So I did not feel that we need to go out for quotes again.
So how do I do this? Go in and just cancel it? Remember that guy that brought the letter in?
So,
Who are you speaking to?
She moved it.
Okay.
um, with the bridge inspections, there are a lot of preliminary work or basically database building work that needs to be done for every consultant that does that. So Calhoun Burns has their database for our bridge set. So any other consultant that quotes on that has to figure in that they need to do all this setup work. So that gives Calhoun Burns pretty much a leg up on any time we have go out for quotes on that. And I think that's what's reflected in that 30% less expensive than the other consultants we've had. But I think, again, I think their pricing's fair compared to what we've seen. So I just ask that you approve that and we'll get them going on it.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next item, discuss, consider fuel tank replacement at satellite grader shops. I believe it's still you, Dwayne.
Yep. As you guys are aware, we had our tank at Germanville develop a leak. And we had to mitigate that by removing some soil and taking it up to the landfill for them to spread and treat it. So we started looking at our other satellite grader shops. We've got 3 additional grader shops with tanks that should be about the same age. Again, they're old enough that we can't find an accurate record on when those things were put in service, but our best guess is that they're roughly the same age. So we thought we would be proactive and either replace at least one of them and then figure we'd do one a year or do all 3 of them at once. We got 2 quotes. FS was 5,160 per tank if we did 3. And Elliott Oil was right at 5,600 a tank. So
Will you have to have new pumps or just transfer pumps?
just transfer pumps. The pumps seem to be fine.
They don't really pump all that much in a year's time, so
No.
that should be
Do
good.
you have money in your budget for this?
Yeah, we'll have to ask for an amendment as we get closer to the end of the year to rearrange some of the funds from different buckets to make it work. But yeah,
But the money's there.
the money's there. Then at some point, the DOT is going to send us a bill for doing the approaches south of Fairfield off of Highway 1. I think we approved it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But the last time we did this, it took them 6 years to bill us. So at some point, we're going to get a $70,000 or $80,000 bill from the IDOT for that kind of work. But so we've just kind of got money floating there that is waiting to be used.
Do you do anything with fuel bids and stuff anymore?
We bid that out last year.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I slipped my
And
mind.
yeah. And Elliott Oil was not considerably cheaper, but they were the successful bidder.
The reason I asked, because there's such a difference in price in tanks.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like going to Home Depot and Menards. Years ago, when I do work, I'd buy my lumber from one place, but then if I wanted like joist hangers and stuff like that, it was cheaper to go somewhere else. It was decent enough price difference that if there were many of them, it was worth making the extra mileage trip.
So are we going to, because I noticed on the FS bid, there was nothing about delivery.
Right, the delivery's included on theirs.
Okay.
And it's just like, on the farm service bid, it's $200 delivery,
Yeah.
whether you get 1 tank or 3. They don't weigh much. It's just, you gotta say, it's just how many tanks you have on the trailer.
Was there a charge for the cleanup?
I think our bill at the landfill is less than $1,000.
Because my next question was gonna be whether or not,
And we have a day of our time and
I didn't know whether that
a
was.
couple of
something
trucks and
Insurance would pick up or not.
And then was a truckload of rock, maybe.
Motion to approve purchase of the fuel tanks.
From who?
Oh, yeah, Haverland.
I'll second that.
1 or 3?
Well, you wanted 3, right?
Yes, sir.
If you replace one a year, the one you don't replace will be leaking next year.
That would be my fear.
So we have a motion and a second, and I would like to add, at least we're keeping it local.
Right.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Probably should, for the record, they're $5,160 a penny.
That is what it's at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is meet with the ambulance director. I know you're on there. Josh,
Yes, I am. I'm here. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Sorta.
yeah, I can't see your
Thanks,
lips
Dwayne.
move, but I can hear you.
That's weird. So I'm working from home today. I have an 8-year-old that has the flu, so he's still feverish. So here I am in my dungeon.
You know a
Um,
medic?
What's that?
I say, do you know a medic?
Yeah, we're good on that piece. I don't have a whole lot to talk about as far as the weekly stuff. I mean, we're still kind of in holding pattern on a lot of things. Still waiting on insurance information for the medical director. He is still very interested in that position. So, like I said, we're just kind of waiting on that piece. Still no update on the training program. It's on my agenda to reach out to them again this week and see if there's any information they can provide. Other than that, I think the next agenda item is to discuss the ambulance repairs, which I sent you a quote last week regarding that.
So I want to back up for a second.
Yeah.
So you've been in contact or in touch or communication with Joe Vins regarding the medical director insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think his ICAP can't provide an insurance policy for him since he will be a contract employee, but
Right.
they have people that they're reaching out to try to get a quote to get him that malpractice insurance that he needs. He
Okay.
doesn't currently have his own individual, like personal policy.
So I think we should put this on the agenda for next week and every week thereafter,
Okay.
reminding ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Medical director?
Did you get that, Josh?
The insurance for them.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else for us, Josh?
Not really, not the general stuff. I mean, like I said, we're in a holding pattern on a lot of things. So
Thank you very much.
yep.
Discuss and consider ambulance repair estimate.
Like he said, they sent it out. I looked at it, went through it. I talked to him about it. And that puts that ambulance back in service. He budgeted in this year's budget, I don't remember the exact amount, but $30,000 for maintenance. So the money's in the budget
Yeah.
to do that repair. It's cheaper than an ambulance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it gives us some options and some flexibility. And they're going to replace, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong here, but they're replacing that entire system underneath there. And it'll be liquid and and the struts and everything, so it's $12,000. How do we get the rig
Yes.
there?
So it's already up there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. So I would make a motion to authorize the repair of that ambulance.
I second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Next item, discuss and consider Gordon Flesh cloud phone system proposal.
He's here.
Pardon?
He's here.
He's not here. Okay, they are not in attendance, so we'll put that on the schedule for next week, I suppose. All right, discuss and consider pay increase for Charlie Giberson Mitchell, County Treasurer, Universal Clerk. This is consistent with a step increase from 1,600 to 1,000. No, yeah, 1,600 to $1,666.67 per pay period effective January 1st.
This is a 6-month step for being here 6 months, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you very much for that. Next item on the agenda is discuss and consider abatement of property taxes for 2151 185th Street in Fairfield, or right north of Fairfield. Did you want to come up?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for adding this application for abatement onto the agenda.
What?
Thank you very much for adding my
Oh,
discussion on the application to this morning's agenda.
That's pretty cool.
so essentially, this gentleman is asking for abatement of property taxes at the above mentioned address of 2151 185th Street in Fairfield. Why are you asking for this?
Well, I'm not I'm a non-resident alien. I'm a German citizen. My parents passed away in early 2024, and after they passed away, I had a strong desire to be close to my sister. She's the only relative left, close relative left. She's Christiane Thompson. She has been living with her family here in Fairfield for the past nearly 35 years. And so I purchased a house in August 2024 in the Abundance Eco Village neighborhood. And from the inheritance that I received from my parents. Just turns out that, I mean, the idea was, I was hoping to get a green card based on my sister being a US citizen. But actually it turns out the application procedure takes at least 10 years, probably even more. And so in practice, I can only spend like 4 to 5 months throughout the year here in Fairfield. And property tax is very high. I knew what I was going into when we purchased the house, but I have difficulties coming up with, I mean, it's a financial burden that makes it difficult for me to maintain the house. I really would love to maintain the house. But I mean, I'm considering to sell it in the summer, except there is a possibility to lower the monthly financial burden. I mean, in practice, I'm spending less than half a year here in Fairfield. I'm single. I don't have children sending to local schools. I just wanted to give it a try, see if there's a possibility to lower the financial burden so that I may have a chance to keep the house. I know it's a little bit unusual.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Everybody's in the same boat you're in.
Yes, I understand.
And
I got one.
I mean, my thinking was that I'm spending less than half a year here in Fairfield, making less use of the.
well, and I understand that too, but I also know that we have folks who've lived here all their lives in their homes, well, all their adult lives in their homes, that are no longer working, that are struggling to pay
Yes, no,
property taxes. Yeah.
I'm very much aware of that. I'm totally understand that this is a very crucial source of income for the community.
Well, I'm just looking at the equitability of what you're asking, and if I make, I hate to say it this way, but I don't know how else to say it. I can make the same argument for my son. You know, he's paying $600, $500 a month
Mhm.
for his property tax.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, we just, I understand that it's a difficult situation, but,
You know, I think it's a very unfortunate situation you're in. However, I can sit here and think of many people, not many, quite a few people from Fairfield that leave their properties and go south for 5, 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and come
yeah,
back.
I'm
And then,
aware of that
You know,
also. yeah.
and I would, you know, I really empathize with your situation, but I'm sitting here thinking, we do this for one, we've got to do it for everybody, and it just doesn't work out. We're going through budgets right now, as Lee and Joe will tell you,
Mhm.
and we're having a hard time with that.
I'm not sure under code that's a legal reason to pay the taxes anyway.
No, I totally understand the situation.
Yeah.
Just felt like to introduce the idea and
Well, we use property taxes for all the services in the county. The school gets half of them, and we have to use less than half. And you heard our county engineer complaining about enough rock for the roads and stuff.
Yeah.
Services are to your house all year long. They don't get shut off or anything. And so I'm just not in favor of starting something like this because it could
I
open
understand.
up
Yeah.
Pandora's box real
Mhm.
fast.
Yeah.
So, but I do appreciate you coming and asking.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to discuss my.
I really don't think at this time this is doable or legal.
Okay. Totally accept that, totally understand that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for discussing.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Discuss and consider broadband grant. Andy, would you like to come on?
Morning, folks.
Morning.
Did you get the handout? I emailed it in late Friday.
I didn't get anything.
I didn't
I didn't get it.
Last week, I engaged our vendor who we bought the technology from, and I asked them to evaluate what could we do in the county with what we've invested in.
Mhm.
And then we used our GIS engineers to do a data study for how many points could we serve and how many ones, how many locations probably require a tower. And so I sent just a lightweight engineering study to you guys on Friday night. You don't have it. I feel
I
like
checked this morning and I do not have anything in my email.
I didn't send it to you directly. I sent it to the county attorney and the auditor.
Okay.
I figured that was the formal way of doing it.
Could you ask?
She's not here.
Okay. I will say this. Last week, and I can't remember what day it was, I went to Libertyville for lunch. And so if you want to know anything, you just ask the locals, they'll tell you. And they were very informative. I asked about the cell service. And she said it was plus and minus, but there were towers for Natel/Liberty, for US Cellular, for the Batavia Company, and Lisco. So the fact that you got kicked off one of those towers intrigued me.
We got kicked off the Grain Lake and we
Okay.
had to put in
Okay.
our own tower.
Okay, I saw it over in the Green Lake, yeah. I saw some on the Libertyville sign. Straight ahead. I just, I do feel for you because if anybody's in business, there's going to be times where you do really good. Sometimes people want to switch. People are always wanting to switch whatever, carriers, whatever. Even grocery stores they go to, just based on a better deal. So I myself don't want to punish you for people wanting to look for a better deal. But in this case, you had to take some people off.
There were 4 people
Okay.
that were not documented well.
Okay.
And the drawing's still up there.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were-
sort of is, isn't it?
They were served through someone else's service, which is
Mhm.
not the way we do things.
Okay. So you were secondary in that respect, is that right? I mean,
They were, so there was a customer on the top of the hill and there was people served through that customer.
mhm,
And the documentation for how that was put together
mhm.
wasn't the best. And we didn't find it until the day that we had to get off of
Mhm.
the grain leg in Libertyville.
Ah. So,
And that's why it was such short notice.
yeah, okay.
But the rest of the people we moved, that went well.
So you didn't bring any maps or anything with you today?
I don't have them with me. I sent them in advance, hoping you guys would see them. So
But,
This-
but
that-
sending them on Friday evening, late Friday, but our meeting's on Monday, that's kind of a. I mean, I don't have them and our auditor's sick today, so what can we do?
She's having Darcy check her email.
Hmm.
Well, we worked all week on it. We had our vendors and our engineering company work on it. I worked on it till 8 o'clock Friday night. Every day we worked on it. And I wish I would have printed it out now. I figured it would have got here.
She's having Darcy do it.
Okay, so let's just wait a second.
So while we're waiting, I know you said that there were 4 people that were, I don't remember, 3 or 4 people that were,
Affected.
well, yeah, that were getting their service from a secondary source, I think was the term you used.
Through another customer service.
Right, okay. So the ones that, for example, the ones that were doing that, they weren't aware that that's how they were getting their service because they were paying for their service.
Correct.
Okay. So my question is that they were taken off, but were they ever offered the opportunity to get back on or get the service through the proper process, for lack of a better way of putting it? And can they get that service today? My whole point goes back to what I said earlier. And I find it down that road. I find it, I mean, as I indicated before, I wasn't here when the previous board entered into this agreement, but I can read the agreement and it appears to me that the board's interest was to provide service to the residents, the rural residents of the county.
I didn't see it.
And there were several processes within that contract, including
Abby, she over there.
substandard was the terminology that was used. Circumstances where I'll just throw AJ on the bus. So AJ he lives down in this hole. And so, you know, there was up to $2,500 would be expended to provide service to AJ. If AJ wanted the service, he would have to enter into a 3-year agreement so that you could recoup that expense. The idea was to provide service to the constituents outside the corporate city limits. I don't know that that's, I mean, to me, it's a difficult question to answer, but a simple question to ask. And I know it says in the agreement that there would be some circumstances, but not many, but some circumstances where you would not necessarily be able to cover every resident, but it says at the residential address. And my question is it reasonable to say that you can cover 90% of the people in rural Jefferson County?
If we bring in the study, I can show you the ones we're concerned about, and I can show you the percentages. It's in that illustration. So the grant agreement says rural residents. We did our study for the entire county. and the entire county is 95%. And then we highlight the red locations that show where we would have to probably use a tower. But here's the thing, when you do a study, you look for 1 point. When we pull the data out, we look for 1 point. So let's say this is just an oversimplification. Let's say my 911 address is my mailbox. Maybe I can't deliver service to the mailbox, but maybe if I move a couple 100 feet south and put in a tower and bring wires back to the house, I can do it. So that all depends on the interaction you have with the customer. I've done fixed wireless since 2006. And sometimes the best location on a customer's roof is where they don't want you to put the equipment. So you have to move it. You have to find the best location. So that's why there's variability. And at the address level, I don't know what that means. Our lawyer doesn't know what that means. It's just
Well,
kind
I'm
of,
not a lawyer, and I didn't draw up the contract, but, you know, presumably NATEL's lawyers looked at it. I don't know. All I'm saying is that 60% of the population in Jefferson County, actually closer to 66%, is here in Fairfield. Okay, they had access. I said this last week. Those that didn't have access, and I do believe that a former supervisor was concerned about the ones that didn't have access and was very supportive of this, was that our rural residents were able to access. And all I'm simply asking is, are they able to access the service for $750,000?
yes, and I can show you the places where we have concern. It's illustrated, but I don't have it with me. And I do apologize for it coming in late on Friday, but we worked hard on it so that we could address the concerns that you guys communicated to me last week.
Joe, you have any thoughts about this?
I would like to see the maps and information and stuff about it.
I didn't
So that's
know if it
what I
was
indicated
appropriate
last
for me to
week.
email you guys directly.
Oh, no,
Yes.
yeah, it's fine.
Yes, it is.
Right now, we're waiting to see if Darcy can get into,
She's working on it.
okay. Chancing, so why don't we take a break for 5 minutes?
Do you guys have Wi-Fi in here that I can use?
Mhm.
Okay. Right, thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Excuse me.
Didn't say you didn't.
Good.
I talked about you last week.
You did.
Yeah.
Is it all good?
It's all good, helping all those kids. Appreciate know why.
Uh-huh.
They're not all.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
I don't know if you're a student, but something similar. Medical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that whole family.
I know you do.
Never good.
I had it, and you had it. Sometimes I should appreciate that.
Kent.
Oh, yeah.
Kent. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just come in because I'm interested in this rural internet thing. You would.
Basically, when we first were looking at this, we had 5 different companies in the office.
Yeah. We had last year, we had, so Jefferson County Gas is the one I should use?
Yes.
Okay. Fiber optics. A mile and a half down on the road.
Thank you, Darcy.
South of Van Buren.
Thank you kindly.
Four other,
Thank you, Darcy.
four other residents within quarter mile, they would extend it because we're not Jefferson County. And I'm just wondering if that's some of the same money, federal money that,
Van Buren,
yeah,
but the supervisor, each county is given how much of the money,
right,
and it was up to the supervisors how to spend that.
yeah. He's ready to get Sean to sell the campsite 17, but so far I haven't had. He won't do it? I'll work on him. Okay.
They've been selling one in Van Buren County.
Heard that.
I figured you would.
Oh. Oh, Leah, but you might be a little upset when they shut down the Grand Prairie Park there.
I was upset. Happy Thanksgiving.
So on this last map here on the last page, got the red dots. Does that mean there is no service to them locations currently?
That means we would have to find a different location on the property to put the service in. So that, really what that means is, from my perspective, those are interesting locations where we would have more difficulty delivering service. It doesn't mean it's a yes or a no. It doesn't mean it's an easy install. It means that, in the agreement, we said we would come to the county and explain where we think we would have trouble delivering service. So that's what that shows. That doesn't mean we can't deliver service. That means we would have to, a tower would probably be required there. And we would probably have to find a location on the property to pick up signal best.
And you would charge those customers extra to put in a tower and stuff then? Is that?
According to the ARPA agreement, we committed to reserving $100,000 of the ARPA funds to subsidize installs.
How much of that have you already spent, Andy?
We put in 20 towers and they range from 1,500 to 2,000 per install. And they, as the agreement says, it can go up to $2,500 per install.
So you've still had half of that money reserved to do?
Quite a bit of it.
Okay.
And Susie, I think one of your original concerns is that a customer wouldn't be required to sign a contract for that. I think that was mid-2024. That was one of your concerns. I don't know. I don't think we have required customers to sign contracts to put in a tower. So we're offsetting that expense with the ARPA dollars.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Can I ask you a question? Is this, are you strictly putting in towers or are you actually laying fiber optics to places there?
This solution is fiber optics to the towers and fixed wireless to the customer.
Okay. Has any fiber optics been laid in Jefferson County with this federal money yet?
Yes.
Okay.
But the scope of this project was not supposed to be delivering fiber to each customer. It was fixed wireless. That way you can have some diversity in service providers.
Yeah.
Local companies, we're a local company.
Can you hook onto an existing fiber optic line to continue it on?
Yes.
Okay. In my neighborhood, Jefferson or Van Buren Telephone came in and came down 1.5 miles down our road and then went south to service someone that's in Van Buren County. We're pretty close to the line. And of course, all 4 of my neighbors got together and said, hey, we'd like to have this run to our place. And they couldn't because it was Jefferson County. But would that be a possibility of you picking up that line and running another 1/4 mile to 4 different residences?
We would not pick up on somebody else's fiber line.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us.
Okay,
We
I
wouldn't
didn't know
ask.
that was feasible. You'd have to run your whole line, new
Yep.
line.
Yep.
Or get a tower.
Correct.
Yeah. So where do you live, Dennis? Well, you know where,
give the address.
you know where Keith Schaefer used to live?
Yes.
Okay, I'm right across the road from him. So I'm inferring, and maybe I shouldn't, but I'm inferring from your conversation that you don't have service? Well, we got HughesNet, which is.
In the clouds.
And
had that one
it's
point.
very sketchy. And we don't have good internet service. So we were hoping when Van Buren County come pulling down and we could get them, but they weren't doing it, so. So my question then to you is, can you kind of point on the map where you're at behind you there? Right here. It's in Cedar County and here, Township 32 and. Here, let's do this. That's great.
Let's not take up too long. Don't necessarily be complaining about that. Coverage you have.
Oh, let's do something different. Just for the. That should be fine.
I'm out with Doug Crawford, my neighbor, Chris Dyer.
We'll do
You
some.
went from north to south, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah. Turkey runs right in my backyard. But you spell something.
And once in a while I drop to see if he pays attention.
I think. So, are you checking, is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Put in your address.
23, well, 2378, 270th Street, Birmingham.
You're pretty close to Fairfield County.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, less than 1 mile.
Let's see.
You know, I was hoping to make Lee eat crow because he was not complimenting me on the speed of the meeting. So far, we'd have been really good. He has to talk about everything.
I'm holding it up too.
No, you're not. It's Lee.
Well, the coverage maps aren't loading. Okay. So, so you're right there. This thing show me an elevation. Okay, I don't know. Google Earth's not cooperating.
Okay,
So you're right there?
no. This is sidewalk one, I'm down this road here.
Andy, you're welcome to come up here and sit by what's his name.
2378, you said?
Yeah.
270th Street?
I checked the chairs where were set in it because somebody has a tendency to.
Like out there?
No.
Was you sitting in
Oh,
the chair?
No, remember when we lowered the chair?
We did?
You were in here.
Don't play innocent with me, Joe.
I expect to find mine down slowly.
Right.
No, I would totally check yours out and bring in a wooden chair. Stool.
Just swap them around.
Is that your property?
Yes.
Okay, right here.
I'm glad we're actually doing this so we can actually see.
Yes, that was my concern.
Yeah.
See.
I didn't want to take,
You're just fine.
well, I just had some questions and I know you need to discuss this.
No, we are just fine.
I would say that location probably takes a tower,
Yeah.
but here, that's what I get when I try to load the coverage map. I apologize. So that's one of the reasons for printing out
X
some.
mark the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of X's there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know my neighbor to the west, Bakers, Ruth and Steve Baker, they get it off the Birmingham Tower.
Yeah.
Cause they're about a half mile off the road, a little
Yeah.
bit higher.
On past Marlon Smith's place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't think they're interested, but I know,
You're after Marlins, I'm sure. You're on down the road quite a ways.
yeah,
That's what I thought.
write down your phone number
okay.
and your name.
See, this was at least my understanding. Again, you know, I'm Johnny come lately here.
Thank you.
But this was my understanding of what the board was hoping to accomplish by this build out, if you will, was to be able to access the Dennis Lewistons of the world who don't have access. And I understand business models and I understand that if you've got to, you know, pardon the expression, I don't mean this in a disrespectful sense. But you gotta go where the money is, and I get that, and I understand that. But I do believe the purpose behind this was to be able to service those locations. And if we're not servicing those locations, then we've appropriated a lot of money and things aren't a whole lot different than they were before we appropriated the money. Not finding fault, just simply stating that, you know, there was a reason, I think, why a lot of companies didn't want to take this on. It was because they couldn't do what was being asked to accomplish. I couldn't accomplish what was being asked. You know, and I'm not gonna name companies, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but my point is, there's a lot of companies out there that, and then some have come into being since, but I do believe that was the desire of the Board of Supervisors at the time, was to afford coverage of those locations.
That's what we've done our best to build. And we've identified the tough spots.
And I'd like to note that you do have money left on this pot, to build towers and help and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Correct? I had asked you.
Oh, for customer towers?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
What kind of tower are you talking? I mean, what's?
Like a TV tower, like a Roan 25 TV tower,
How tall?
50 feet
Okay.
is the highest you can go safely without guy wires.
You do have one of those over on, over by Lockridge, to the west of Lockridge, by the wooden bridge.
I don't know
It
that.
must be somebody else's then.
I don't know.
How tall do you normally build these towers to reach a few feet?
Well,
Whatever it needs to get to a certain place.
right, if I understand right, we're talking about towers on customer properties right now. The highest you can go without guy wires is 50 feet.
But in our situation where we got like 4 residents right kind of close,
Mhm.
can you put one tower that would service all 4?
We try not to do that because we end up with situations like that.
So if you're talking a tower per
Mhm.
resident.
Yep.
Okay.
Just like in the old days when people had TV towers.
Yeah.
To bring in, Channel 9.
Yeah. So the second part of that then is, are we then bouncing off another tower, or is that hardwired?
It goes from a main tower to the customer. We try not to relay through from one customer to another.
Well, I guess that's what I meant, that somewhere there's a main tower that bounces to.
Correct.
I have all my questions answered. And
Do you think this gentleman could help you?
well,
I've got his phone number. We're going to find out.
Good, good. Thank you, Dennis.
yeah, and let me see my neighbors and see if they're, well, I know they're interested. So that makes another question and answer. If Dennis is the only one, would you still service Dennis?
If we can get service there, yeah.
Might I ask, the question, general information, how much does a Roan 50-foot TV tower cost? Any rough guesstimate?
Generally from $1,500 to $2,000 installed.
Okay.
And the grant agreement says up to $2,500 per tower. So that gives us some room if we need to put it in a remote location and trench in some wire.
Thank you for the information.
So is there, would you, from the tower to the house, that would be taken care of too?
That's what we aim to do
Yeah,
for these installs.
okay.
If it gets above $2,500, I don't think it has yet. That's where we start talking about contracts and see if the customer wants to buy a higher service package.
Sure.
Oftentimes people just don't want to spend any money.
Yeah.
And then,
I did.
situations don't always work out well.
Yeah.
But there's a reason the county, um, I wasn't here for the agreement, but I understand that's the reason the county wanted some of the funds to be held back to subsidize installs that were hard to get to.
Right. Well, I saw in last week's paper when Sean was talking and he had a situation and I know, Lee, I've talked to you about this. Right. For coffee. And, so that's why I'm here. So I don't have any budgets to present or any reports or anything. Is that? Right. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate your input, Dennis. Yeah.
Dennis, thank you for coming in.
Yeah. See you, Susie.
Thank you, Dennis.
See you. Work on Sean about that campsite.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll work on
I
it.
appreciate that.
What do you want? Your own private?
Yes.
But the neighbors would complain, we'd have to have like some sort of a clause of that.
So private campgrounds and county dispensaries.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, I know the initial thing was, there were several of us that wanted to make sure the rural areas were given the opportunity to utilize your service at a lower cost. And I would ask, how many low-income residents have you served? Do you have any idea?
That used to be a government program.
Yeah.
That government program's gone now.
That's right.
So we did what a lot of other providers did. We took a haircut, lowered our prices to capture customers.
And when I signed up, it was to get 50 meg. I think that's now went to 100 for everybody. Is that correct? Am I?
I don't know. We did reposition packages. I don't know
Yeah.
numbers of it.
Well, I know it didn't go down. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Do you ever have any lapse when you're on your computer about stopping to catch up, or is it?
You know,
like
that's a great question, Joe. We can have the TV on, whatever they're doing on the TV. I had 5 of my nephews there on Christmas Day, and everybody was on. You know how kids are.
Yeah,
And it was okay because but you know, we have something that goes up the side of the house and it pings off someplace in Lockridge. And it seems to work. We haven't been without service. And prior to that, I've had HughesNet. You know, I'd give them about a 2 on a scale of 10. We've had Lisco for a while. Prior to that, I am pleased with what you've done based on what you guys said you were going to do. You know, I know it took a while, but that's not your fault. It was basically my fault for not wanting a telephone pole in my yard. But
so that's what you have now is a pole
it's a pipe that goes up and then
off of your house or off of a pole?
off the side of the house
Okay.
to the north side.
I believe yours is a standard install. Does
Yeah.
not require a
No.
tower.
But it did would have 2 years ago. I
Yeah.
think. You hardly notice it's just a pipe going up and you can always tell if it's red or if it's green or, you know, the same thing in the house.
What do you mean if it's red or it's green? I don't follow you.
Green would be for go, red would be for stop. In other words, it's working.
You mean there's a light up there or?
A little bit light, yeah.
Oh. So you got a security light. It changes colors.
A little bitty security light for like the ants. Lee, what does the agreement say? It says the second step is we can give them $200,000, right? The third step is 75,000 and some change.
It says, phase 2 shall be due upon completion of phase 1 and delivery of a report demonstrating as such funds shall be used to pay the continuing costs of building out tower sites and extending the fiber backhaul network, which I confess, I don't know what fiber backhaul is. No idea. To each tower site to facilitate delivery of services and to purchase customer premise wireless equipment inventory along with the necessary mounting hardware mast poles and towers to have on hand as customer orders come in for quick and effortless service delivery, which I mean, I'm sure you probably have that equipment, or you wouldn't be installing towers. So I get where you're going with that.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we complete our obligation for phase two.
We've completed all the way through phase 3.
Okay.
We had to have all the phases done by the end of last year.
Mhm.
And we didn't come in incrementally. I just wanted to come in and say, we've
We're
met
not-
our obligations.
And I think we were just asking for, show us that stuff, you know? So I withdraw my motion and say we need it. I would like to make a motion to fulfill our obligation.
Well, I certainly think that
I would suppose, with that saying, even though we're doing this, you will be held accountable if we are not accountable, but we'll approach you if somebody says they have some issues, you know?
Anyone's
Just
welcome
like
to
this,
approach
right?
us if there's issues.
I think that's great.
Yep.
I thought you were really great to say something to Mr. Lewiston today.
anyway, what I was gonna say is that I have no doubt that you guys have, you know, you took the ball and Amanda took the ball and ran with it as far as the part goes. And I think what I'm hearing you say, and the circumstance with Dennis is a perfect example of where my concern lies, is those were the folks that we were trying to serve.
Right.
Whatever it took to be able to do that. I don't think anybody was naive to think that $750,000 was going to be all that you needed. I mean, I don't need to know, and I don't necessarily want to know how much in the way of funds you've expended, but I'm sure it far exceeded this.
First of December, I shared a little over 1.7 million. And I don't have all the work orders closed out through the end of 2025.
So, and I do appreciate that. And I know you didn't already hear me say it, but I reiterate that the desire, the plan, or the thought behind this was to build out to the Dennis Lewistons of the world and the Sean Conversays.
And I'm walking in with my eyes wide open. I know that the people that you hear from are going to be the exceptions,
Mhm.
the ones that it's going to be hard to get to.
Mhm.
But those are the ones that we're going to spend time talking about. And that's
And I
not,
guess what I want to hear you say is that those now become your priority, figure out a way to get to them. That's what's the whole purpose behind this.
that's always part of the motivation of fixed wireless. So who'd I share with last week? I live north of Brighton.
I don't think you mentioned a name.
Let's see, I think I was talking to the gentleman over there. I live north of Brighton and I moved out to an acreage north of where I grew up. That was December of 2004. And I did not have good internet. I had Iowa Telecom dial-up. It was terrible. And I drove past somebody's house on the way home and I saw they had a fixed wireless antenna. And so I got service from Cloudburst 9. So I wanted to live in the country. I wanted to have fast internet. I needed to have fast internet. I'm on call every day, supporting thousands of customers. I need that. So that's where I come from. You know, I use fixed wireless internet and the company knows how to do it. And we pride ourselves in delivering service to the people that are hard to get to. Now, what I've learned in all those years is I can't give you an absolute answer. This will work everywhere. That would be a lie.
Right.
So what I can try to demonstrate is we have the experience, we built the network, we know how to do it. And if we can't do it, it's not because we aren't trying.
So what you're saying in a nutshell is you will try every means possible to get service to the short people.
We always do. We,
But will it be at a cost after this agreement is all done and stuff, and you get your money down the road, a year or two, somebody comes wanting it, are you gonna have an exorbitant cost to get it to them? Because I was under understanding it would get to all residents that wanted it regardless of the terrain or whatever. That's the way I understood, but I wasn't on board when this was all worked out. So,
we'll work hard to get everybody. Can't say that, I mean, there's still more funds available to put in subsidized towers.
Well, I do think it's reasonable to assume that they want the customer. And if they can get the customer, I think that they would do that. I guess, you know, I've hammered on you pretty hard and I realize that. I just, and again, no disrespect to you, I don't think. I mean, I think we have to meet our obligation as far as that part of it goes. I mean, we signed this agreement and so we have to live by it in terms of fulfilling our obligation to it as well as not only to you, but to the requirements of the funding mechanism as far as that part of it goes. So, and I appreciate you sitting here and serving the slings and arrows. And I'll second Susie's motion, but I will also say that which I take it your word that you will continue to do everything you can to cover as many people as possible. I think it was, I'll just leave it at that. I appreciate, like I say, your willingness to come and sit down and kind of get smacked upside the head a couple times, but,
I respect the job you have to do.
I've been negative on this, I'll be truthful, because I want to be sure the county's getting the bang for their buck. I don't want to just be handing out money and then find out something else happened, so I appreciate you coming, explaining everything to you, and it's changed my perspective on some things, so thank you.
Yeah, we've got north of 1.8 million reasons why we haven't just taken the money and run it.
well, that's another thing I want to say too, for folks that might be listening, and I'm sure most of them are aware. I appreciate the fact that you built a new facility. And that indicates to me that you're going to be here, or at least is your intent.
Yeah.
You know, and so I do appreciate that. And
We've increased your tax base. And we're
That's
not
right.
asking for
That's right.
abatement.
I know,
That's right.
I was just gonna say, and so I appreciate your contribution to the funds. And I do believe that you'll continue to because customers are how you survive, right? And so you're gonna continue to do what needs to be done to get the customers. And yeah, I've been pretty hard on you, but anyway.
I think we all have asked very serious questions.
I would like for you on occasion, if you feel so inclined, to come and visit us every once in a while and say, hey, we kicked Susie off. And we can.
Not gonna happen.
All you gotta do is pay your bill.
You see what I have to put up with?
We hurt the ones we love, Susie.
Oh, don't say. Hey, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All
I will abstain, because I was the negative on things.
right. So do we need to have them submit an invoice for the record?
Yeah.
Or if you do that fast?
To the auditor?
Yeah,
Yes.
because I think we have to have a paper trail,
Yeah.
not only for our auditor, but
We do. Okay.
Thanks for sharing your concerns with me.
Yep.
Andy, where do you live in Washington County? You live in Washington County?
Yep.
Sandy Hook up further?
North of Sandy Hook. I drove Sandy Hook on the way here.
Yeah, that's about the only way we can get across the river unless you go all the way to Waymont.
Do you know how that got its name?
No.
The families that settled there were from New Jersey. They were Stouts. They got halfway here about Indiana and they created a town called Stoutville. And then from there, they moved here and they were from Sandy Hook, New Jersey.
Oh,
And that's how it got its name. And my grandfather was born on Sandy Hook Hill. So,
Sandy Hook was a little icy on Saturday night, Friday night.
was it?
my dad likes to talk about when they first moved out here. All that was old growth timber,
Correct.
rough.
Yeah.
And he said driving that road through all the rough timber was, nothing like what it is now.
Yeah.
Just rough country.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Lee is running my record. Make community.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Make committee reports. Andy, I requested a shepherd's hook, which they haven't got for me.
Wasn't in the budget.
But no,
So, one thing I had was I met with, Phil Miller, Board of Health, had a good conversation. Wanted to go over budgets, what we were thinking, and I said, well, we haven't got to that point particularly yet, but, so we had a good discussion, regarding that, and, we discussed some of the environmental health issues, and then, I did have a doctor's appointment. Our management company for Jackson Point is on a cruise as we speak. He is not happy because he doesn't like to fly and he doesn't like being on big boats.
Well, he got a double dose.
Yeah, he got a double dose, so. And anyway, we have had several inquiries about our available apartments. And so that's going well. I think that's all I have. That's all I have written down anyway.
Okay. I attended the Board of Health meeting on Thursday evening. There was a lot of concerns about different things with the environmental health side of it. The environmental health and the public health both presented their budgets to the board, which we should be receiving this week. And I also attended the emergency preparedness meeting at the hospital on Thursday morning. We just more or less went around, discussed things they're doing. Going to have some tabletops coming up here this spring on different scenarios on what to do at a intrusion or a disaster, tornado or whatever. So it's nice to know that the county is on top of things and figuring out what they can do instead of at the time of an emergency having to figure things out. So, which is very good.
I had a Zoom the other day with the new Eastern Iowa area workforce development. The name is longer than it should be. Basically, it's just a meeting with everybody. But I found it very interesting. A couple like Ryan Drew and some of those folks from down by Burlington who are union reps were on that. It's their employers, their HRs, a lot more than there used to be, which I find is real good, because you get that input. It's not just what the state thinks, it's what the people who do the job think.
Right.
That was very, very interesting. And I think the introductions for the people probably took as long as the other half of the meeting. There are that many people on it, but it's a good start. I think that was everything besides coming here that I dealt with last week. Besides rehab, you know. Abby, deal with Abby. Who keeps us out of trouble on a daily basis.
It's unusual that she's here.
Huh?
She's gonna slap me.
Well, I forgot to
Under the table
report.
so no one can see it.
I wouldn't, if I saw it, I would say I didn't.
I forgot to report that AJ and I attended basketball games in Mount Pleasant Friday night, and the varsity boys game was very fast moving.
Did the refs kick him out?
I wish. No, I keep still. I feel kind of guilty living in Fairfield and supporting Mount Pleasant. Should.
You know, Joe, don't do that. I went to school at Iowa State and I still support Iowa, so you know.
Well, trust me, I've been kicked out of a lot of basketball games and soccer matches.
Really?
Yeah. One soccer match where I literally just got there from an Area 15 regional planning meeting. I just sat down and they drove into my son and knocked him out of bounds, and we didn't even get a yellow card, let alone a red card. And I completely come unglued on the ref right there, and they stopped the game and wouldn't start again until I left. And I hadn't even got my sit in my chair.
So,
It's
you have a notorious past.
I do.
You're saying,
I
yes.
do, yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of recreation, one end of the spectrum to the other. Anyway,
Well, at least you're well known.
that's right.
Any public comments?
nothing.
He's here to talk about something else.
Oh, okay.
I would like to hear anybody that's been on Zoom or whatever, if there's any problems with your internet service, we'd like to hear. I mean,
If they have internet service.
if they have internet service, yeah, we've not really heard anything out of the public.
Steve can't get it down there where he's at.
I got fiber.
Yeah. he's got-
Of course, he doesn't live in this county, but that's a minor point.
Good for you.
I dropped Bloomfield, that Citizens Mutual in Bloomfield is worked this way. Fiber optic.
Yes.
She wanted it.
No, she's one.
Okay. She lit her mic. Does that mean she wants to speak?
Mary Ann, did you want to say something?
She can hear something.
Okay, no.
Her mute went on.
Oh. Any public comments? Okay, hearing none. Thank you for your participation. Allow claims and approve reports in the amount of.
Oh, now I gotta work and put my glasses on to get this right. $151,527.18.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I don't know about these long meetings.
Motion to adjourn.
So move.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susie.